With the new Battlefield game on the horizon, the big question that comes up is how should vehicles be implemented? With Battlefield 2042, that seems to be as big of a question as ever, and that is what we're going to talk about today. Now, without further ado, remember, if you do enjoy today's video, don't forget to leave it a nice, thick, and juicy like as always. Of course, enjoy this kind of content, you want more like it, be sure to hit that big red sexy subscribe button right underneath the video. Also gotta say, I've been streaming a ton lately. It's been awesome hanging out with you guys. If you want to swing by and say hi, be sure to hit that notification bell. Last but not least, gotta thank my channel members. You guys help make these videos possible. If you want to join, get access to the exclusive perks that they get, as well as support the channel, then be sure to check out that blue join button. Anyway, let's begin. So what do we know so far? Well, we know actually a decent amount about the vehicles. Of course, we have the vehicle call-ins, so you'll be able to, of course, call in a vehicle. If I'm assuming you get a certain amount of points is how they explained it, you can just use those points to call it in, similar to squad call-ins in BF5. Now, there are a limited amount of these, so you can't just have 40 tanks get called in at one time. For the sake of balancing, you are only able to call in a certain amount, but say, for instance, some pesky camper is way out in his tank, just camping away, call in your own, hop in it with your squad, go and destroy him and show him that tank camping is stupid. Now, speaking of tank camping, there do seem to be slow turrets back in 2042. In the Portal trailer, it looked like the, I'm pretty sure it's a T90, was swinging around the turret. It looked like it was moving like it did in BF5, where you can move your cursor, but the turret is a bit slower to get around. This, I'm not a huge fan of. It did look like it was faster than what it was in BF5, which is, of course, a good thing, but I'm not a fan of it because it does encourage tank camping. It makes it much harder to take out infantry when they're swarming around you, and so it makes it hard to push into an area because you don't want to risk just getting swarmed like that. Obviously, that's a risk no matter what whenever you are going into an area to play the objective, but it makes that decision much less likely to lean towards going into that area when you can just sit far away and snipe them out of the area, which I think is unfortunate because I want tanks to be a part of the gameplay. I want to see them there on the objectives. It's a combined arms game, and the vehicles, whether it's aerial or if it is ground vehicles, need to be a part of it. That's just Battlefield. And this kind of leads me to my next point, and this is kind of my concern for the vehicles in 2042, and that's that they might end up becoming dumbed down cheese, like we saw somewhat with Battlefield 1's vehicles and in pretty much every vehicle in Battlefield 5. There's pretty much no skill ceiling when you have a vehicle like an Ilium Muramet, or like the way the tanks are balanced in BF5 to where it encourages just sitting away, so much so that in my previous video where I talked about cheese, it actually shows how in the test range in BF5 it literally teaches you to tank snipe. Incredible. But the thing is, games like Battlefield 4 and even going back to Battlefield 3, there is so much depth to the gameplay within the vehicles that people nowadays can still grow their channels based off of that. I think one of the best examples is someone like Silk, who left Battlefield 5 and described exactly what I'm saying here. Well, I'll let him say it.
Another major issue I have with Battlefield 5 is that there's literally no motivation to play the game as an above average player. So within the first few weeks, players had mastered the basic mechanics, whether it be vehicles or infantry, and the game only really has basic mechanics. This essentially takes the fun out of pub matches for myself, and I'm sure many others. Without RSP or ranked mode, I literally just can't find the motivation to jump on Battlefield and stomp match after match. I'm not learning anything from it, and it's not really challenging at all. Now, I usually hate on balance a lot, but I think I'll leave it alone for today. They clearly have no idea what they're doing with it, and while some feedback might be welcome in quotation marks, it will definitely be ignored, so just give up with that.
And see what I mean? Once you get a hang of the vehicles in a game like Battlefield 5, that's it. That's the limit of it. You max upgrade it, you know all the secrets already, and then you just go and destroy servers. There's nothing to learn there. Whereas his channel really started to blow up once he went back to Battlefield 4 and started pulling off these amazing gameplays, because there is so much to Battlefield 4, and there's such an appreciation for the skill that it takes to be really good with the vehicles in that game, and there's so much depth to them that you can go and play them for thousands of hours like some of these players have done and get so good with them that, again, there's a reason to keep coming back to it. It's interesting, it's entertaining, and again, there's a respect for those who can achieve that level of skill within those vehicles. Now again, my concern with 2042 is either they'll go for a more casual experience so anyone can pick up something like a helicopter and just dominate the server, which if you've faced a sweaty chopper pilot in BF4, I say that with all the love in my heart, except in the moment when I hate it, imagine those sweaty pilots you come across, but every single single server, just like BF5, where anyone can grab the Zero or one of the bombers and just destroy the server. And the thing is, one of the big issues is the vehicles don't serve a purpose in that game, and that's another one of my concerns, where in BF4 each one has a sort of role, and there's only a certain amount of each one that can spawn on a map at a single time. So for instance, the attack jet is meant really to attack the ground. That's fine. The stealth jet is going to come in and try to take out the attack jet, as well as, you know, other helicopters and other aerial vehicles like that. It's much more maneuverable, and it's balanced in a way to where that is what it's for. And also, one team can't just have a bunch of attack jets. They can't. Whereas in BF1 and BF5, each team can just have all bombers and no one's shooting each other down. So it's only on the AA on the ground or the Fliegerfaust or something like that to be able to take those planes out, and that's an issue. So make sure that there is a certain amount of each vehicle so that each one has a purpose and a role to fulfill whenever you hop into them, and make it to where there is a decent skill ceiling so that people can come in and they can spend as much time as they want with it and feel like they're always learning some kind of a new trick with it, so that they can really master these kinds of things. Because Battlefield has this issue where it's struggling to appeal to the casual audience, which just wants to pick things up and be really good with them right off the bat and just make it really easy to pick up the game, but then there's no depth to it, versus the kind of core Battlefield audience that wants to dump thousands of hours into the game, and there need to be things for those players to discover along the way. Because like in Battlefield 1, as much as I do love that game for other reasons, and like in Battlefield 5, there isn't a ton of depth. So once you get the kind of core experience down, that's all there really is to learn. That's all there really is in the game. And that will really hurt the player base, because there's no reason to keep coming back. There's nothing new to try and learn, nothing new to try and master. And that's not fun. Again, sure, the heli sweats in BF4 are annoying. And sometimes it's like, oh God, they're just ruining the whole server. But I can appreciate the amount of skill and the ability that goes into that kind of a thing, versus in Battlefield 5, every single server is like that, because anyone can just pick up one of the planes and dominate the infantry. And I'm not just complaining about vehicles to complain about vehicles here. Again, I want there to be a skill ceiling for the vehicle players. I'm not saying nerf them. I think they should be powerful. I think that in a combined arms game, they need to be powerful. But there needs to be a way that they can be implemented properly to where the vehicle players are enjoying it and they feel like they have a reason to keep coming back to them, and the infantry players don't feel like they're just being farmed by anyone who can pick up that said vehicle and destroy the whole map. There needs to be balance. So anyway, I hope I covered that well. Again, my perspective is from that of a primarily infantry player, although I have been trying to get more so into vehicles as of recent and try and learn and appreciate what they have to offer. If you're a vehicle player and you have any comments on the subject, feel free to let me know down below. Or if you're an infantry player, just let me know. Let's have a discussion, and I will see you guys in the next video.